It don't get better than this for him.
Gold medal race between New Zealand's Aaron Gate, Jordan Kirby, Tom Sexton and Campbell Stewart. A brilliant ride from New Zealand, and they have won the team pursuit in great style. They come to the line. New Zealand have it. How's this one going to play out? New Zealand against New Zealand. Gold and silver between them. Simply a matter of who gets which colour. Here we go. 4:07.129 the time to beat to take the record. 4:07.760.
No Justin Marshall until Wednesday. We'll talk to Marshy. Again, we spoke with Aaron really early this morning. First thing I said to him is, well, I hope it's not an awkward time for you then over there. So it is for us.
Yeah, well, it is an awkward time. I definitely appreciate the support, but also the people that do get up at 4 a.m. to watch us are also idiots.
Hey, look, I've got to say congratulations then for getting those 2 golds, and especially after what you went through in Tokyo last year.
Yeah, thanks. The main goal here was the team pursuit, which we got underway with and qualified faster. Sort of, yeah, it was a good confidence booster right from the start, and there was a few things we could still work on, and we sort of made those small changes and came out and broke the Commonwealth Games record in the final and took gold there, which was a bloody nice feeling and definitely felt like a bit of redemption for what the bad luck we had last year. And yeah, just good to my bit and getting the guys to the finish line first and feeling like I was contributing to a positive result this time around. That was a good feeling, and then to back it up the following day with the IP, well, that was pretty special as well.
I mean, that's kind of a double whammy, isn't it? Winning the gold and also breaking the record. That's overachieving, or is that the target even before you start?
Yeah, well, we had been training and working towards a particular time, and we were hopeful of being in that record zone. And to be honest, we thought we were going to have to be in contention for gold anyway. So that was like sort of knowing where our competitors were at, because although the UK team is kind of split up from the normal events into their individual nations for the Commonwealth Games, it just so happens that pretty much all of the team was English. So to be able to beat them in the final was, a pretty cool feeling, and as well as the Australians.
So where does this, in terms of world rankings and in terms of, if you had to look at where you would be right now in that up against, who else would you have to beat if you, to actually be the very best in the world?
In fairness, at the Olympics, it was Italy first and Denmark second, and it was Italy who narrowly pipped us by 0.009 of a second or something, I think it was, for the write-off for gold in Tokyo last year. So although those 2 nations aren't obviously here, I think our time we did here would still have been extremely competitive on an entire world stage too. So that was kind of made it all the more sweet, I suppose.
Of course it does. I mean, because I know that's in your mind as well. I mean, what I love about you guys is I just love how bitterly competitive you are. It's amazing, mate.
Yeah, well, I think that's something we want to avoid, complacency, and we're always looking for areas that we can improve and do better. And already, we're looking forward to the next event at the World Champs later in the year and working out what we can do to go faster there. So it's something that you have to always be evolving in, and we push each other to our absolute limits and training, and that's kind of what, I guess, gets us up for the big ones.
Aaron Gate is with us, double gold medalist so far already, and he's got another event tonight, of course. That's the points race at Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Look, I don't want to keep harping on about it, but I want to just take you back to Tokyo and crashing on that track and things. Just because, you've got such an inspirational story, mate. And for everyone who plays sport at any level, or just throughout their lives, that whole thing about when you're at the worst moment happens, the adversity happens, to pick yourself up again and to have that confidence to go again and then, actually compete at the highest level again. What goes through your mind at times like that? Did you feel really bummed out after Tokyo, or did you just sort of put it to one side and say, hey, these things happen and we move on?
Well, I guess the challenge there was it was a team event. Like if it had been an individual one and I'd stuffed up and I was the only one that suffered the consequences, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Shit happens, move on to the next one. But when you sort of, your whole team suffers not being able to stand on the podium because of something that went wrong, it's sort of like, that was what really weighed on my shoulders and sort of, I guess, did push me to be at a level here better than I ever have been before, physically, just to try and, I guess, help repay them for their patience and still not kicking me out of the team. And so I think that's I think that the main frustration for me in Tokyo was just the fact that it just so happened to happen at the Olympic final, something like that, when I'd done a million laps of velodrome in my life and never had anything quite like that. Which I guess maybe in hindsight was a bit of complacency. We were by far the better team than the Australians, and maybe it was just a moment of, we've got this in the bag, when really it should have been racing to the bitter end. So yeah, I mean, it's something I've analysed in my head countless times, but we'll never know the exact answer of it. But I think all in all, it just served as a motivator for going forward and to do things better next time. So that's, I guess, the main takeaway from it.
Aaron Gate on the platform with us. Did you have to have big conversations with the other lads about that, or they just know that this is part of the business? And did you have any time where you actually had to spend any sports psych stuff or anything like that, or was it just friends and family and yourself that got you through?
Well, when I got back from the hospital with my hand in a sling, with my arm in a sling, and the first thing the guy said to me back at the village in Tokyo was, are you going to take up lessons on how to ride a bike in a straight line? So they were pretty keen to throw the banter straight away. And I think that was kind of it. Although it wasn't really a laughing matter, it was kind of like, that's all you can do in moments like that. Is laugh it off and move forward. And so the fact that we can take each other's insults that get handed around is probably our sports psych work in itself.
That's such a Kiwi way of doing it as well. And that just means, I mean, in saying that, what he's saying to you is he's saying, we got your back, bro. That's what he's saying, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't mean it like that at the time, but that's how I took it.
Yeah, of course. This time in the team pursuit, look, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about this event. So I hope it's not too boring for you, but just for everyone who's listening and watches this, just the sheer mechanics of it and the physicality of it and riding so close. Are you aware of, or how aware are you of these guys front and back to you, or you're just concentrating solely on yourself? And it's almost like, those flying ace teams where they just expect everyone to be in the same position. So you're not really aware of it, even though you're flying at 1,000 miles an hour with guys right in front of you and things. Is it kind of like that?
Sort of. Like you're definitely looking to the guy in front, but you're trusting that he's following the guy in front of him in the right way. And it's probably one of those things too that, like, not to bore you with too many technical details, but every velodrome probably looks the same, but it does actually take a bit of time on each track you get to, because they've all got their subtle nuances with different angle of the banking and how long the corners are compared to the straights and everything like that. It takes a few sessions to get dialed in and find the right line that gets the team moving fluidly as one unit, because that's kind of it. It is, although we're 4 individuals like thrown together to do the job together, the team has to function as one to be fast, and it's all about extracting every ounce of each individual person's physiological attributes to get you to the line fast, and that's kind of what makes it work. We've got everyone that covers all the different positions in the team really well, and it's something that is a little bit tailored, but you also you have to make a strategy in terms of who does how many laps on the front where to make it work. And that was kind of the great thing here, is we almost had turns in the bag rather than having to over extract anyone, which is where a lot of other teams came undone here. You can see they really fell off the pace in the last K just because they didn't have the strength in their team to carry through that crucial last bit of the race. And that's what I think something that made us a level above everybody else here.
This is Aaron Gate with the double gold medalist at Birmingham, and still racing tonight on the platform. No, look, this is fascinating, mate. This is exactly what I want to hear. I mean, it's when you're watching it, and I've been to the velodrome before. I've been fortunate to be at Olympic Games in cycling and that, and I've just marveled at it. It's the ultimate in teamwork, isn't it? It has to be that.
Yeah, it is. I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards our sport, but
no, it's fair, mate. Look, honestly,
for us, it is like track cycling ultimately is the Formula One of the Olympic sports. There's not any other sport that is so heavily reliant on their technology and the the equipment and everything that goes into producing a fast team, but it's the athletes that have to push the bikes too. And it can be quite specific, the training we had to do. Like, gears have got bigger and bigger as times have got quicker and quicker too. So you still have to be able to get the gear off the line. Like like even 8 years ago in London, we wouldn't have even dreamed of putting chain rings as big on our bikes now as back then as we do now. So even in the space of years, the sport's just moved so drastically forwards. It's kind of what keeps it exciting too, for something I've been doing for a while now. It's the fact that it is always changing keeps it exciting.
Yeah. So for somebody who's out there listening, going, well, because everyone that's riding a bike around town right at the moment is actually pretending they're you, pretending they're the team. You know that every man on the bike is doing this. So if you're just riding a normal kind of bike, how difficult is it to, or how big a gear up is it for you in racing compared to what a normal bike would be?
Well, like a normal road bike, like for the people that know bikes out there, I think we raced on 66 front chainring and a 15 rear sprocket, which roughly works out to the biggest gear on a road bike. So if you imagine putting it in your biggest gear and accelerating away from the traffic lights, and trying to get that up to speed, up to 65k an hour as quickly as possible, and stay at that speed, that's kind of our sport.
Yeah, okay, that's absolutely perfect. Aaron Gate is with us. All right, I want to go to the team pursuit now, to the 4,000 metre pursuit now. First and foremost, what bunch of morons took this out of the Olympic Games, mate? I mean, this is what just frustrates the hell out of me. What are they having some kind of grow a beard barista contest or something instead? Are they putting breakdancing? And I can't believe they've taken this out.
Yeah, it is a shame. It's something that is kind of the race of truth, so to speak.
Yes.
And we did have great success at the last games too with Hayden Ralston. The last games it was present with Hayden Ralston winning silver in Beijing in 2008, which is the last time it featured. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool for me to win that medal here too, knowing that Gary Anderson back in 1990 in Auckland was the last person that won that medal. Being born in Auckland in 1990, it makes kind of
well, that's perfect, isn't it?
Kind of cool.
Yeah. And when you say it's the moment of truth, because I'm watching this race thinking, at what stage are you just absolutely spent? At what stage does it hurt the most, and you have to bust through that barrier?
Yeah, that can, depending on how well or how badly you pace it, that can come on far too early or just at the right time. The worst thing for me in the final actually was when I deliberately didn't look at the lap board, thought I was counting the laps in my head, and clearly lost count around lap 7, and then thought, being conservatively, I reckon it's 3 to go now. So I came round, counted 2 more laps, expecting to hear the bell, no bell, there's still another 2 laps to go. Next time, here comes the bell, no bell again, and now my legs are well and truly on fire, but managed to just keep turning the gear over long enough to the line. So it's I mean, it is a very honest event, and it's one of those ones you can approach in 100 different ways to achieve the same result sometimes, but it does take a lot of patience. And I think the undoing again of a lot of my competitors here were going out too hard and then paying the price in the last 2k, which is something I knew that I had to avoid doing, and I feel like I paced it well enough, and to again set a Commonwealth Games record was kind of made it pretty cool too.
No, it's just above awesome, mate. If there's another word bigger than awesome, I'd use it. I don't have it, so I can't. Aaron Gate is with us. There's something also about seeing, those just the black suits and the black bikes and that. I don't know whether the other athletes find it intimidating, mate, but I reckon it just must feel awesome when you're out there with all the other bros around you, all dressed in black, does it?
Yeah, it does feel bloody cool. It's always an honour to pull on the black skin suit, and I think I am kind of right in saying that it is the envy of a lot of other nations, and I think it's it's hard. I don't know if it's just bias, but I do feel like we're the best looking uniform out there, and yeah, it's just such a privilege to be racing in it once again.
Would you ever wear that out in public, go to the pub or anything?
Oh, no.
It's a little tight.
No, haven't quite got to that level.
Hey, and also I love the haircut too. I love that, mate. It's just awesome.
Thanks, mate. Funnily enough, that was the that was at the request of the wife. She said I had to leave the back of my hair long this year for a bit of a laugh. So at least she knows that it's not. You can't take yourself too seriously.
Oh, look, you take what you need to take seriously, which is your hard work, mate, which is just so impressive. I also got to pay tribute to your mum and dad, because I know that, you don't get to do this without your family, your parents especially, and a whole lot of other people paying massive support to you, not just today, yesterday. I'm talking about over years and years and years and years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of all started for me when Dad used to kick me out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to go out for a bike ride and train for the school cycling events. So that's kind of where it all started, and pretty special to have them here as well as the first time they've been able to travel for a little while post COVID and come to a full grandstand. Have plenty of other Kiwi supporters here too. Just makes it all the more special.
Well, look, I've kept you on the phone long enough. I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done for New Zealand, for uplifting moods, just for the pride that you wear. All of you, I'm not just talking yourself, but you especially for what you've achieved. But just how good you make us feel here. Just a normal person sitting there watching a television set, and you're watching a silver fern win, mate. It's extraordinary what it does. It's really uplifting, and so congratulations again. And don't ever not think that we absolutely appreciate it down here, because we do.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate those words.
Cool, dude. Go and do it again tonight.
Thanks. I'll be trying.